Hi, friends. It's Lauren. Thanks for joining me in my craft room today. I'm grateful to have you here for a Christmas or holiday themed card. It's the 25th of the month, and this month I'm using the Hey Frosty stamp set from the Sassy Club, as well as some dies and stencils to create a scene. We're going to start with scene building and ink blending on this piece of A2 white cardstock. I'm going to start with adding in my sky. So I'm taking the tree stencil and aligning it up using some mint tape and my magnets on my white cardstock so I can ink blend my sky. I'm using the treetop stencil from the Sassy Club, and I'm going to blend tumbled glass and salty ocean distress oxides to ink my sky. I'm using brushes from Twiddler's Nook. I've dedicated these to my distress oxides as I do have another set of random brushes that I use for dye-based inks. I love these blending brushes that they stand up. They have cases and they also have magnets on them that will work with the Twiddler's Nook magnetic stand. So you can keep all your brushes on a stand. Um, I'm just grabbing what I need today, but there is a really great set from Etsy if you want to check that out. So I am going between the two colors and blending my sky until I like how it looks. Again, I'm going between tumbled glass and salty ocean to get a nice kind of, I don't know, very bright sunny day. So I'm just going between the two colors. I have a microfiber cloth next to me to try to take off any excess ink so I can blend between the two without completely contaminating my poor tumbled glass ink pad. Once that's done, let's see how my sky looks. These tree stencils are so sturdy, which means I don't have to be too terribly gentle, but still remember they are very dainty trees, so be careful when ink blending. And I think that looks so cool, just like that, having the white treetops. But I do have a picture from the movie that this fandom set is based on. And a lot of the trees kind of have this purpley pink vibe to them. So I'm going to use those for my trees. So I'm starting with Victorian velvet and I'm just going to add this color to the tree tops just to pink up the very top of my trees. And then I'm going to bring in milled lavender as my purple and completely cover the rest of my trees. Now, I went to the bottom of this negative stencil because I knew that I was going to add a piece of like cardstock to make my snowy hills on top of it. But you could also put your paper through the stencil so you don't have that harsh line where the trees end if you want to completely color in the whole background. So I really love these colors. It's coming together just like I'm picturing it and looking at it on my computer screen. So we're going to move on to making our snowy hills. So I'm grabbing my Slimline stitched hillside borders from Lawn Fawn. I just wanted a hill that will be a die cut, and then I'm going to stencil on another hill using the rolling hill stencil from the Sassy Club. So I have more white cardstock and I'm going to run this hill die through my die cutting machine. And then I will grab that tumbled glass again and we will add the hills. So in order for me to know where the hill is going to go, I'm going to line up this piece so it covers where my stenciling ends. And I'm just going to grab a pencil and I'm going to mark a line right where my background ends. So right where it makes an A2 size card. And then I will grab my paper trimmer and I'll just trim right on that line that I drew with my pencil. So I'll use the line to line up with the groove for the blade and then just cut that piece. So now we can grab our Distress Oxide again and add some details of the snow. So I'm going with a very blue snow. So I'll use that tumbled glass to add shadow to my snow. I'm also going to use blue when I color in my snowman later on in the video. So I'm trying to add just a light color of that tumbled glass. So I'm starting off the edge of my paper on my glass mat to add the color, and I'll do the same but start on my stencil. So that way I'm just bringing a little bit of color in without it being too dark. I'm also going to add some glitter to the edges so that will, make the line that I'm creating with my ink a little less visible. And I'll add a little bit of blue to the bottom and bottom corner edges of this snowy bank. And that's just to give, like I said, my snow some shadow. I figured it would have a blue reflection from the sky, so that's what I'm going with. Now I'm taking my glue and I'm just going to add a thin line of glue right where I stenciled my rolling hill as well as the edge of my die. And I'm going to use some chunky glitter. This is really old glitter from Spellbinders. I did link down a Lawn Fawn version that's pretty similar, but I'm just trying to use up things that I have in my stash. I've had this forever and I rarely use glitter like this, so it's been lasting me a long time. So I put the glitter on the glue, I'm tapping it off, and I'm just going to use my tray. I flipped it over so it was shallow to have my snowy hills dry. So I'll go ahead and pour my glitter back in my container, and we're going to move on to die cutting our trees because those will be ink blended and glittery as well. So this is the Stitched Forest dies from the Sassy Club, and I'm taking the 2 trees that have leaves on them as well as my bear tree, and I'm going to die cut them out of more white cardstock, and I'm going to run them through my die cutting machine off camera. And I'm going to use those same colors that I was using for the rest of my scene to color them in. So my 2 trees that have leaves on them, I'm going to use the blue to make them look snowy. And then for the bear tree, I'm going to use those same colors as my trees in the background. So again, starting with the darker color Victorian Velvet and adding that towards the center of my tree. And then I'll grab milled lavender and bring that color out to the branches and to the bottom of my tree. These 2 colors blend together pretty well. I had to go over quite a bit and I was trying to be gentle. I thought later how I should have used my paper pouncers to color these in because it's so dainty and probably would have been easier than brushes. But I just do my best to blend those 2 colors together. And once I'm happy with it, I'll set it aside and we'll move on to the tumbled glass. I did leave in most of my coloring here so you can see that I really did work those 2 colors together to create a nice kind of pinky purple color for that tree. For my blue on my other trees, I'm going in just like I did with the snow. I'm trying to just add a little bit of shadow to my trees, not trying to color them completely blue. I want them to still look white and snowy. So just trying to add the ink where I think there would be shadow on the trees. I'll go ahead and grab my supplies with the glitter again, and I'm going to add glitter to my tree so it looks like you can see the individual parts of the tree. So adding glue to the top, and then between each layer of the tree, you can see how I'm adding glue, and then I will pour the glitter on that. And I'll do that for both trees. I'm only going to show one because you don't need to see me add glue to both, but I'll do that to both trees. And then for my bear tree, I'm just going to add glue where snow would be sitting on top of the branches. So definitely not as much glitter on this tree as the other ones. I just wanted it to look like there was some snow sitting on some of the branches of my tree. Now that all of my ink blending is done and my glitter is drying, let's move on to stamping and coloring the images. So I'm going to create a scene with all of my characters. So I have my snowman that's facing the card receiver, not the walking one. I have my little girl as well as the rabbit and squirrel, and I'm using my Sassy Club Onyx Black ink, which is alcohol marker friendly, to stamp them out. I'm also using the Express It blending cardstock. It's my favorite for alcohol marker coloring. I'm using my Ohuhu art markers today, and like I said earlier in the video, I'm coloring my snowman with blues just to give that. I don't know. I imagine snow with having a blue cast to it, not like a gray cast that I normally do for white. So I'm using B140 as the darker tone, and I am gonna barely color in this snowman because he is supposed to be white. So I'm just using this to add a very little shadow to the edges of the snowman, under his arms and neck, just to create a dark cast of where I think there would be shadow, like under his hat. And then the second color I'm going to bring in is B120, and I'm going to just go over that dark color just a little bit, extending that color out, extending the shadows out, just really trying to create that shadow of snow like I did for my snow background with my Distress Oxide. And once I get all of that colored in, I'm going to bring in my colorless blender and then completely try to fade out that blue just to create a seamless look between my shadows and the white part of my snowman. So I am using my Ohuhu art markers. I've been really enjoying my Olo markers, but I feel like I've been neglecting my poor Ohuhus, so I'm using them today. Except for when I do the skin tone and my squirrel, I will have some of my Olo markers because I did buy a skin tone set first before I bought all of them just so I could try them out and see how I like them. And I feel like you can't go wrong with a skin tone set because I color so many things in that are skin tone or brown. So I figured, couldn't hurt to have extra color of those. For the snowman's nose, I'm using reds and I'm going to use that same color combination for my little girl's jacket. And for the cob pipe, I guess, is pipe as well as the broom. I'm using shades of brown and yellow, and I'll use that same yellow combination for my little girl's hair. When I use, like I have the same color for multiple things on my card, even if it's on a different image or a different item, like a broom versus hair. I still try to use the same color combinations just so there's a bit of cohesiveness on the card. Now, if they were, completely different browns like I'm doing here with the broom and the cob pipe, I'm not going to use the same color combination. But when the yellow of the broom looks exactly like the yellow of the little girl's hair, I want to use the same color combination just to, again, not make it seem like my card has too many colors, or when you wear two shades of black it just looks kind of funky. I want to make sure that my colors that should look the same are the same, and it just adds a little bit of cohesion to the coloring of the card. Now, again, I do have an image up on my computer screen, so I'm coloring these in with the colors that I see from the movie, but obviously use your imagination and use what you have. If you don't have that kind of bright pink color for the flower, just color it however you would like to if you're replicating this card. Now, I know I normally say the colors that I'm using, but I thought it'd be fun just to catch up since my coloring is kind of a long one today. There's a lot of images with a lot of colors, especially the snowman. But I can't believe that we're at the 25th of April already. This year has been flying by. I feel like I've been busy since Christmas because of the holidays. And then January through March is cookie season for Girl Scouts. And my daughter had a really big goal, as you all know. So I just have been so busy with that. And I feel like every weekend I've been either traveling or doing a Girl Scout event. And it's going to be like that through May, pretty much. I feel like once we finally hit Memorial Day, it will slow down, but then it's going to be summer, which means different summer camps for Abigail. And it's just going to be busy. It always is busy. And I love working with all of the many companies that I work with. But I also do have a full-time job. So I'm a busy gal, but I've been really enjoying all of the different companies. As always, I love the teams that I'm on, but I also had fun guest designing for Pink in Maine. If you didn't see my video, you can check my videos or head over to my Instagram. I did 4 projects for them last month. But I've been busy and I've been really enjoying it. And I know that I don't really have a set schedule for my videos, but I am just grateful for all the times that you do watch. And I'm grateful to have you here today watching this video. I'd love to know if you've seen this holiday video. As you know, I do my very best to never say the actual names of things because these sets are inspired by fandom. But let me know what your favorite holiday movie is. I love this one. We also have like all the claymation movies as well that I like to watch. It just makes me happy, and I'm looking forward to watching them again this year, even though it's only April. But what else has been going on? Abigail is getting older and is learning a new sport, hockey. And so my weekends have also been hockey related, which has been awesome. She's still learning how to play, so pretty soon she'll be trying out for a team, and that means not only my weekends, but probably during the week will also be hockey focused. So But she's been really enjoying it. Our Girl Scout troop has been doing so much. It's been so fun. We have a lot of end of the year activities plans, like going to camp, horseback riding, ropes course. They wanted to do a climbing badge, and so we're going to do a ropes course because that's as close as we can get here in Southern California to some of the climbing requirements for Girl Scouts. But it's been really great. I volunteer a lot with them, and I've also been busy. I'm going to be helping with the summer day camp. So, doing an overnight at the camp. So, I'm also trying to fit that into our troop schedule. It's been really busy, but it's kind of like a same old, same old. I'm busy with the same things, but it's been really fun. And this year is just flying by, but it's been really enjoyable. I do have a couple lives coming up next month. I hope you enjoyed my Spellbinders live, Crafting with Friends. That was on April 1st. We're going to be doing the same thing on May 1st. I have it scheduled on my account, so if you'd like to watch it on my channel, you can go ahead and hit the notify me. So at 4 p.m. Pacific time on May 1st, we will be doing another live kind of Crafting with Friends video where we're going to use the May Spellbinders Club Kits. And then I'm also going to go live with almost the same friends on May 20th, which is a Monday. And it's for the Spellbinders Weekender. If you got the kit, you know that that weekend before is the classes for the kit. So we're going to get together on Monday after the Weekender event and just kind of create with the products that we got. So not, I've opened my box, but I haven't gone through it. If you'd like to see an unboxing video, let me know. Maybe I'll just do it in my Facebook group because I don't like to ruin it for people. But I mean, you can just choose not to watch my video if you don't want to see what's inside your Weekender box. But let me know what you think. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll unbox it. We could do an unboxing together in my Facebook group. Just let me know in the comments what you think. But there's so many cool supplies in there. So we thought we should get together and come up with ideas for, those who receive the kit, other card ideas that they could use with, or project ideas with the supplies that come in the kit. So I'm looking forward to that live as well. So I've been rambling a lot because I was trying to fill in the time here of my coloring because I always have a hard time talking during my coloring, but that's been pretty much what's been going on with me. Let me know what's going on with you in the comments below. I use my scan and cut to cut out my images, but I hate when it doesn't cut out in between parts of my images. So I'm going to just use a hole punch to add some holes to those bigger white areas. And then I just use my scissors, these tiny little snips, to get into those holes and cut around the inside of my images. I'm also going to add some white highlights to my images and also use it to color anywhere where I went out of the lines. So now let's add our sentiment and a few snowflakes to our background. I'm going to just place it in my Misty, and I'm going to use the Thumpity Thump sentiment. I think that's so darn cute. And I'm going to get that centered onto my card background, and I'm going to ink it up with black ink. I'm just using VersaFine Onyx Black so it sticks really nicely to all of that distress oxide. Then I'm adding some snowflake stamps, and I'm using Picket Fence to ink them up. I do have to stamp them probably like 5 or 6 times, but I'm just going for a subtle white. I don't need it to be perfect. In fact, one of my snowflakes got misaligned, and now it's a little, it's a snowflake that is moving. It's an action snowflake. But I just wanted to use those snowflake stamps and create a little interest to my sky without it being like overwhelmingly a white snowflake. I have a top folding A2 card, and we're going to start building our card together now. I'm adding some adhesive to my card base, mostly because I didn't want to smear my sentiment or my snowflakes. And my card background is A2 in size, so I know it will line up right onto my card base. And I have some like paper frizzies that I have from cutting my cards, so I'm just using my thumb to or my thumbnail to get some of those little paper wispies off. And then I apologize. I do way too much of my adding adhesive off camera. I just didn't realize it. I was just on a roll and wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. But I added some 1 millimeter thick foam adhesive behind my snowy bank. I just filled up the whole back of it, and I'm adding it to my card front, lining it up to the bottom and sides of my card base. And now let's add in our trees. And because of the glitter, I'm definitely going to have to use some liquid glue anywhere where my trees overlap my glittery snow. So I'm using some, again, 1mm foam. These are the tinier strips, the 1/8 inch strips. And I'm adding that to the back of my tree where it will overlap my stenciled background. And then using liquid adhesive where my tree attaches to the snowy hill, covering some of that glitter right there. And then I realized that my branches were going to be too flimsy on their own. So I'm just using liquid adhesive and I'm going to glue all those branches down to the stenciled background. Because I used 1mm foam on the back of my tree, you can't tell that they're like bent backwards. I think it looks really nice just like that. And then I'm going to repeat that for the rest of my trees, my last two here. Anywhere where it will touch the stenciled background, I have that 1mm foam, and then I'm using liquid adhesive to attach the bottom of my tree to my snowy hills. So I added the skinnier tree next to my bare tree, so that way it feels kind of even when I add the larger tree to the other side of the card. Now I'll clean up my desk and we'll move on to adding in my images. I know my snowman needs to be centered for me to, it doesn't need to be, I wanted it to be centered. And because he's holding the broom on the left, there's a lot more going on towards the left of the card once I get him added. So I'm only going to add one of my images next to the broom, and then I'll add in my other two images and characters to the right of my snowman. So I added foam adhesive, again 1mm thick, behind my snowman, but I did double up on one of the squares that's behind my snowman's hat because it does attach to the background and I already have dimension there, so I needed to double up. And then I'm adding that same 1mm foam squares to my rabbit that went to the left of my snowman. And then I added them to my little girl who's going to be on the right, and I left a little space in between her and the snowman so my squirrel can fit between the two. So I added the foam actually to the card base and then added liquid adhesive to my squirrel since he's going to overlap quite a bit with my snowman and my little girl. So that will finish off my Christmas or holiday card for today. I hope you enjoyed the scene building, the coloring, the catching up, adding glitter. If glitter is not your thing, you can use pops of color. There is a clear, it's called Snowflake, and it's perfect for adding glitter like this to a card without having loose glitter. So that's an option too if you're like anti-glitter, which I totally get. But I hope you enjoyed this Fandom Christmas card today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!